Hey everybody, Andrew here with my first video on how to conquer disabilities. This is going to be kind of like I said in the intro video, if you watched it, it's going to be the most controversial video because a lot of people are afraid to even speak out on disabilities because they have the entire American medical field going against them, more or less. And so anybody who wants to say I'm wrong has more than 1,000 reasons to say that, but it's just my point of view. It's what makes sense to me, and like I said in the intro, I did spend a year in the medical field, so I do know more or less a little bit about these topics. And so the main things that I want to get at with it is that you can either be the victim of your disability or you can be the owner of it. And the difference between those two things is the owner of your disability, being the owner of your disability, it's not going to be easy because you're going to have to admit that, that it is a problem that you have. And by admitting that it's a problem that you have, you're gonna be confronted with more and more and more challenges because they're gonna be challenges that you create for yourself. Where if you're just being the victim, then anybody who says you have a disability, even though you know that you do have the disability, you can just be the victim and then make them feel bad for saying you have it, and they're gonna feel bad about it, and you're not gonna make any progress. And so rather than being the victim and having a whole bunch of people kind of dislike you, but at the same time it's easier for you to deal with because multiple reasons, just like you don't have to constantly make any changes and it becomes your label, and once you label yourself as somebody with a disability, then the rest of the world's going to label you the same way, and eventually, just like with anything you label yourself as, after a couple months go by, they're just going to think that's the good old normal you. So instead of doing that, I think it's really important to be the owner of your disability. That way you can take people's advice instead of being like, oh, he said that I have that I'm suicidal, and it's true, so I'm just super sad and that sucks. Nah, you can being the owner means, yeah, I know that I am suicidal according to all kinds of people, but I don't want to be suicidal anymore. I want to change and I want to get better. And I guess that's what the owner is recognizing that even though you are a little bit different, it's not something that has to define who you are. And so if you do that, then just like with being a victim, the label you give yourself is going to only take a couple months for other people to start catching on. So if you're autistic, or if you have depression or insanity, or if you're psychotic or whatever, maybe your problem, if you're a drug addict, whatever, then just so long as you don't classify yourself as any of those things, then the rest of the world will slowly start to not classify you as them either. Sure, there's always going to be a couple haters that are like, yeah, that's the dude who just always says that he's going to quit but never really does, and screw him. They're right. You didn't. But that doesn't mean you're not trying to get better. And so just so long as you're trying to get better, then you're going to be the owner of it. And sure, it's going to be a lot more difficult and it's going to be a lot more hard, but you're going to make a lot more progress, and eventually you're going to earn a lot of people's respect because they're going to see that you're doing something that they don't even know how to do, something that they can learn from. And so I think that's really the basics of getting through any mental disorder or any addiction problems or anything of this nature, is because you can classify yourself as the victim, or you can classify yourself as the person who's trying to get better. And if you're the victim, you're going to stay the victim, and you're probably going to get worse. Your symptoms are going to grow, and eventually you're gonna feel helpless. But if you are the owner of your mental disorder, then every single day you're gonna be making a little bit of progress. And even if it's, something like autism that can't really ever be 100% conquered, you'll find tricks to deal with the parts that are the hardest to deal with. And so even though it may not be something that will completely stop affecting you, it can be something that the rest of the world doesn't even know you're affected by. And so, again, it's a super controversial topic because autism, for example, ranges between two different categories, and it's the people who really aren't affected by it that much and, you know, don't really classify as the victim, and then there's the people who are so affected by it that they don't even know how to not classify as the victim, and so I don't know, hopefully the things that I say can help people over here, but I wouldn't know. I think it's probably up to the parent or the guardian of those children and of those teenagers and adults to help them, to maybe watch my videos and help them out with it, because they probably know the actual situation 10 times better than me. And so, just like with most of the videos on this channel, they're just going to be tips and guides and things like that on how to conquer certain aspects of life, because there's no surefire guaranteed way to conquer any disability or to be completely happy or make sure that you're the best meditator in the world. But either way, if you're trying, you're going to get a little bit better. And so that's what it's about, is trying instead of just being the victim. And just so long as you're trying to get better, you're going to be making progress. And as you make progress, people are going to recognize that you are trying, and they're going to gain respect for you. And, that can be just the confidence boost you need to keep going. And, like I said, there's always going to be haters, but instead of letting them hold you back, and stuff, you can ignore them and just keep on growing. And the thing that stinks about America, at least, is that if you do classify as the victim, you have $750 a month from SSI or whatever it's called. You have all kinds of programs open to you. You have a whole bunch of people who are just going to come to your house and give you things because they feel so bad for you. And so that's why being the victim is being easy. But if you are going to actually own up to it and say, yeah, maybe I am the victim, so it's not that they don't deserve the title, it's that they're not willing to take it, no matter how much it helps them physically. It's never going to help them mentally to classify themselves as the victim. So what they need to do is, instead of classifying themselves as the victim, they need to be aware of their disorder, so you call it, and then keep constantly making progression. And just so long as you're doing that, you're going to improve. And that's basically the basics of conquering any disability, any addiction. If you can do that, then you're going to start making progress. And that's going to be it for this first video. But the next videos will be diving deeper into maybe certain disabilities, or maybe just how to, like some of the problems, or not problems, but some of the difficulties that come from deciding that you do want to conquer it. Like I said, all the haters, how to deal with those haters. That's going to definitely be a video. Techniques to not start falling back into the victimhood, because like I said, the whole entire world is gonna want you to be a victim. And so it's just gonna be in the next video, so I'll just keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper on how to conquer your disabilities. But yeah, that's it for the first video. I hope it helps out, guys, and I'll see you later.